So yes, good morning. As you would have just heard, outside it is absolutely chucking it down. I've checked the forecast and the weather is meant to be sunny by this afternoon. But that doesn't help me when I do a fitness fragrance review, does it? Because if you haven't seen these videos before, essentially what I do is I do a morning workout while reviewing a fragrance. And the fragrance I'm going to review today is Bentley For Men Absolute. And what we do is we rank it on 5 categories. So price, value for money, versatility, projection, compliment factor, and its overall longevity. And we do a couple of tests of it during the day while I do those workouts. So I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout and walk back, provided this weather improves. But we are going to do one anyway today. So this is the fragrance we're going to review. I thought I'd done this one before actually, but I actually haven't done a review of this. I've mentioned it a lot, and essentially I think this one kind of gets a little bit forgotten. Of course, a lot of people talk about Bentley For Men Intense. Bentley For Men Absolute is another fragrance of that line, around a similar ballpark in terms of, its genre, masculine fragrance, 20 to 30 pound, all in this sort of designer bottle. So what I'm going to quickly do though, hopefully this weather's going to improve very, very quickly, but I'm going to quickly talk about the note breakdown, give my initial impressions of that, and just tell you what I can detect. So what are the notes in this fragrance? What makes up Bentley For Men Absolute? So the top notes with this fragrance is pink pepper and ginger. Now this is something I've mentioned a lot, and thankfully some of you have agreed with me on this. This has a bit of a sort of Coca-Cola smell to it, a little bit of a fizzy, dark smell, and definitely if you look at the top notes here, that's where that sparkling fizz is coming from. You've got the pink pepper, warm spicy sparkle, and of course if you know ginger, whether you eat it in food or you've just smelt it in fragrances, that also adds that sort of spice and sparkle, that fizziness that I think this fragrance really thrives on. But it's all about the woods in this fragrance. This fragrance is essentially a really dry, woody fragrance, and we can see that when we go into the heart. So you've got olibanum or frankincense, smoky resinous depth, definitely getting that resinous sort of vibe. And again, I think that's leaning into that with the sparkling sort of ginger. That's where I'm getting that Coca-Cola sort of smell, that darkness, that smokiness. But it's not smoky really. The woods, the sweetness from the woods definitely sort of tames it in that sense. You've got papyrus, dry, woody, earthy tone. Sandalwood, creamy, smooth woodiness. And I think sandalwood also brings a bit of sparkliness as well. When I've had Sandalo from Acqua di Parma and other sandalwood type fragrances, they've definitely added that element to the fragrance. It's definitely added a bit of a sparkle. But yeah, definitely woody, and it's going through the heart. And then in the base, again, it all goes back to woods. You've got cedarwood, dry, strong, woody base. Amber, warm, rich sweetness. So again, maybe that little bit of extra sweetness, taming that dryness from the woods. Definitely there. I actually thought there was going to be a bit of patchouli in this from that earthiness, but obviously that seems to be coming from the papyrus. And then moss. I don't get the moss. I don't get any green sort of vibe with this. This is very much a dark, woody, fizzy type fragrance. And as I said, to me that sweetness, it almost gives it a bit of a Coca-Cola vibe. So if you know what I mean, or if you've had this fragrance, I hope you agree with that. It's wet, it's windy, there's nobody around, and I may not be big in size physically, but when it comes to resilience, I get out there and I do it. You can tell by my sort of rain-drenched glasses, I'm battling through it this morning while everyone else is lying in bed. All to give Bentley For Men Absolute the attention it deserves. Not many people are stronger than me. No, let's be honest, it's just stupid being out in this, isn't it, really? Anyway, we're doing it. So, price/value for money. So, Bentley For Men Absolute, you would have just seen a couple of prices online, and they're around sort of £22, £23 because they're on a sale at the minute. And if you look at the sort of standard price for it, you're probably talking £25 to £30, which in general is around the same price as Bentley For Men Intense. So do I think that's good value for money? Well, if I was blindfolded, I'd say this is worth £40 to £50 in terms of the quality. I've said this before. It's, some cheap fragrances, you get an alcoholic blast that starts burning your nostrils. This doesn't. This is very high quality. This is just as high quality as that boozy Bentley For Men Intense, and it's blended so well. You really detect the opening, and you actually notice the opening throughout the whole fragrance. So that sort of fizziness lasts the whole time, and it just smells really quality. Again, the definition it said on there is luxurious. That's what this is. It's got an element of luxury about it. And I think Bentley, what they've done is they've raised the bar so high for the quality of their fragrances, including this one, but they have to kind of fit that mould. And I think the genre of this fragrance definitely fits that sort of person who drives a Bentley, you know, got money, got quality, and, you know, you really detect those woodsy notes, a little bit like an Encre Noir, but that sweetness that you get maybe from the amber and that pink pepper just tames it and makes it a very light, well, not light, it's not a bad performer, we'll talk about that later, but a very easy signature scent. And I think if you're saying £25, you know, to get a decent high quality signature scent that certainly smells more expensive than other fragrances within that price range. You know, I think some of the ones I've got, Calvin Klein Obsession, Old School Fragrance, Davidoff Cool Water, you know, that sort of genre, that's the sort of price range we're talking here. It smells a lot better quality than them. You know, it's got an element of someone who could easily dress this up, and I think honestly for the price it can stand up against some fragrances at £80-90 quite easily. So I say it's worth around £50 if I was to spend it blindly. So essentially, yes, I think this is great value for money. There's plenty of notes going on, you can detect them, it's not linear this at all, and it's got a mysterious vibe which, yeah, I just think smells expensive and high quality. And if you don't know this one, because a lot of people don't, you know, it's a well-known fragrance, but it's a unique one. I know it's been compared to Gucci, one of the old Gucci fragrances, but yeah, it's brilliant. I don't think there's anything being made like this today. So my only thing that I could mark it down on, I think, is the fact you can only get it in 100ml, and it's not one that you're definitely going to love. So some people might want a little bit more versatility in terms of the bottle size, because as I said, if you're spending 25 quid, I say that's quite cheap and it is good value for money, but if you don't like it and you're not sure about it, £25 quite an investment. You don't really know, it's not maybe one you want to blind buy. So that's the only thing I can mark it down on. Scent quality, great value for money. I just think if they had a 50ml bottle, people might be a little bit more, you know, inclined to buy it, and if that was say £15, I think it'd be worth it. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for this. Brilliant fragrance, well worth the money in my opinion. I may even buy those ones on sale. Right, on to Versatility. Okay then, so Versatility. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different occasions, different ages, all those things. Well, I think first of all we need to say this is a masculine fragrance. Dry woods, again, very, very sort of smoky in its vibe as well, which I think is definitely coming from that frankincense olive alum. You know, adds a bit of depth and a bit of complexity. And as I was saying earlier, what do I picture the sort of man that wears this sort of, I'd say a sort of 35 upwards sort of person. My dad wears this one, he's in his, nearly 60. Anyone at a certain age, Beyonce, I think 25 can appreciate this if you know fragrances. All I would say, this is a step up in quality. If you're used to juvenile scents, yeah, this may not be for you, but if you're someone who is a little bit younger, a little bit more maybe, you know, likes to dress up, maybe wears a leather jacket, drives a really nice car, yeah, just sort of likes a bit of that old school type vibe as well. It's not an old school one, because again, that sweetness tames that. But yeah, it's got an element of class. You can certainly wear this with a suit, but it's not really heavy either. I think you can wear this in transition seasons. So I quite happily would wear, it's not a gym scent, you know, not wearing what I'm wearing today, but you could definitely wear this with a white t-shirt, a general shirt, wear it to the office, and it's going to be fine. As I said earlier, signature scent worthy, absolutely. High heat summer, maybe not, it's not what you're going to choose, but I would definitely, you know, be more than happy to dress this one up. I just think literally anyone who's a little bit younger, who likes those sort of clean shower gel type buys, it's not like that at all. This is serious. Someone who wears this is a serious person, likes a bit of luxury, likes to look a bit classy, and just really cares about, you know, essentially looking classy, looking expensive. And let's be honest, looking expensive for a very affordable price is not a bad thing. So I think Versatility here is okay. What do I give it as a score? I'll go 7.5. As I said, I think if this was a bit stronger and a bit heavier in its sort of performance, because it is an eau de parfum, I think it could go down a bit. I actually think the fact it's not a really heavy fragrance works really well. I really do. I think it works really well. And again, that you detect those top notes throughout the whole fragrance. Sometimes when you have smoky, woodsy leather accords, they can get quite heavy and just completely overtake the fragrance. This one doesn't. This one stays sparkling throughout. That ginger really holds on. I just think it's really good. Okay, I don't detect the moss in it, but if some people do maybe detect that fougere vibe, then I think that makes it even more versatile as well. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 for that one. Thankfully, it has stopped raining, but a bit late now. Soaking wet feet, cold. Stop moaning, Harry. We need to get back, and then we can talk about projection. Hi guys, what do you think of Bentley For Men Absolute? Who knows? Run done, had a complete change of clothing because I hate wet feet. Anyone else just squelchy for 2 hours. Anyway, what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to spray my arm first. My hands are so cold. We'll do 7 on each. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go downstairs, have a cup of tea, hopefully to warm my hands up more than anything. And I'll talk about projection. Did I notice the fragrance during my run? I have to say, with the weather, obviously made it quite difficult. But yeah, we'll talk about if I did notice it at all. And yeah, maybe the cows liked it. Maybe that's the other thing we should mention. Because yeah, they were certainly sniffing me and pushing me about. I think they were just hungry. Anyway, come downstairs. I'm going to spray my room 10 times now. So if you haven't seen this before, basically, I'm going to see in 10 minutes' time how much it's filled the room before we give a score on projection. Oh, sometimes the simple things in life are just the best. I love tea and coffee. So, projection. Did I notice it during my run? No. Now, I think there's 2 reasons for that. I don't think this is a strong projector. I've had this twice. From my experience, I don't think Bentley For Men Absolute really projects. I don't think Bentley For Men Intense really projects. However, this one really doesn't. This one very much, I think, is going to do better again on longevity. I don't think people are going to really notice. It's not really heavy in your face. It hasn't got those really strong sweet notes. And I think that tells with this fragrance. If it had a bit more like vanilla or cacao or those notes that are really quite strong, even minty notes, I think this would really kick through. But it's a dry, woody fragrance with a citrus sort of top opening, or a spicy opening. And I think that's absolutely fine. I think this is perfect for that, which is what I think makes it suitable for an office and a signature scent. But yeah, I did notice it, and I can notice it now. I've sprayed my arm, haven't I? But on my top, when I've literally just got changed again, I could still smell it on the running top and the clothing. It just didn't get noticed, obviously, during my run. So it is still there. It was still there. Of course, I was very much distracted by the weather anyway, but I'm really interested to see how it does in this room spray test. Personally, I think it's going to be a little bit underwhelming. So in a couple of minutes, we'll go upstairs and we'll give us proper score on projection. Does it fill a room if someone comes in? And then up we go. It's been about 12 minutes actually. I took a little bit longer to keep my hands warm on the cup of tea. Right. Now, I can't smell it as I come up the stairs again. Don't expect to. Now I'm coming into my room. Now, I left the door open today, so, it's not necessarily going to fill the room just as well. Yeah, I can't smell it at all. I'm quite surprised, to be honest. I thought it'd be a little bit better than that, but yeah, no, it's just literally over here, but like 5%. Yeah, I've never noticed this one being good for projection. It's very much one that I think is going to do all right on longevity, and maybe that's, I said this earlier, I brought this up. I actually think with the terms of the fragrance that it is, the note breakdown, I think that's a good thing with this. This is quite dark, quite heavy, quite serious. I don't think it would be a real mass pleaser in that sense. By the way, we'll talk about compliments in a minute, but I don't think it's one that everyone would really appreciate and really like. So I don't think it's a bad thing that this isn't really strong and in your face, because I think it'd be a bit too much by the end. You get a bit sick of it in a 100ml bottle, but it is there. It's 5-10% though, so I can't give this a really good score. Let's go for projection 3. Not great, I know, but yeah, it's very much one that's much closer to you. draws people in again, a little bit mysterious, which I quite like, and that maybe once, that makes people want to get a bit close to you rather than being brash and in your face. That's not that sort. It's not that sort of fragrance essentially. So yeah, what I'm going to do though, I'm going to head to the gym now. We'll talk about compliment factor on the way. Yes, it doesn't project, but do I think it's a fragrance that could get compliments? And have I had any? Can you believe this weather now? Look at it, the sun's out and everything, but at least the forecast was accurate anyway. It said it was going to be nice for the rest of the day. It's a compliment factor for Bentley For Men Absolute. Do I think it's a compliment getting fragrance? Have I had any experience of this? I actually have. It was a slightly weird one. I remember I had a sports session. I had to do a first aid, and what you have to do is fill out a form, and I needed to get a parent to sign it. And the parent, obviously, the child I'd put the ice pack on, they were absolutely fine. But he had a younger sister, the boy, and she was probably only about 3 or 4. And I remember the girl, because she was climbing over her mum's back while she was signing the sort of first aid form I'd filled out. And she goes, "I can smell the man." And she said, "Oh yes, he smells very nice." And that was it. So yeah, basically it was like a 3 or 4-year-old girl probably just said, "I can smell the man." Whether she liked it or not, I don't know. But essentially, I think it is a compliment getting fragrance, but it's not the sort of one you'd buy for compliments because, again, I always say this in these videos, people want those versatile blue sort of fragrances which are much easier to pull off and wear in like, gym environments and everything like that. But what if I said this, for instance, you can wear this, I think, dressing up, which is of course when you're going to look for compliments, when you're dressing up wearing a suit and tie, you want people to say nice things, and this will supplement that perfectly. I'd wear this to job interviews, I'd have no issue with that. I'd wear this for a date night because I think it's got that mysterious vibe which draws people in, and where it isn't that really strong projector, I think people will want to get a bit close to it. As I said, it's not a really daring fragrance, it's just quite dark and quite serious, and that's fine. As I said, I think the fact this is a dress up, it's a James Bond sort of thing, I actually think. It's got that modern vibe to it, and it's 100% you could wear it for compliments. As I said, in those more formal situations, if you're looking for more formal compliments rather than those playful, younger type vibe. This is more of it's not a sort of sexy scent, let's say. It's more of I'm a little bit classy and sophisticated and I care about smelling expensive. And that is the thing when you can get compliments. So I'm going to give this one 7.5. I just think it's probably, it's not going to work for a younger person maybe for that sort of thing. And as I say, it's got no real sweetness to it or playfulness about it, which I think that's what most brands are looking at today, like vanilla, caramel, all them, and it hasn't got any of that. So if you want that sort of one and a bit more versatility, then obviously stay clear. But if you want it for those more formal situations, let's say, go for it. I think it's a compliment getter, and I've got a half compliment from it, haven't I? Anyway, we'll bump it up to a 10 if I get one at the gym today. So workout done, no compliments as expected, but as I said earlier, longevity on this I think is going to be pretty good. I'm still getting that fizzy Coca-Cola smell. I just can't get that Coca-Cola vibe out of my head. Oh, it's really good, but will it survive the shower? Let's try and find out. Just gone midday, just put some antibacterial hand wash on my hand. Oh, the sting. Cut my finger at work on a slicer the other day, so don't do that. Antibacterial hand wash with a cut, the pain. Anyway, so what do I give it then as a score for longevity? It's been 3 hours since I applied the fragrance. It's time to smell my arm. Right, everything I said earlier has come true. The longevity on this is brilliant. I'm going to say that's about 80% as strong as it was when I applied it a few hours ago. Now, I think I sprayed it about 7 times as well, so not loads and loads. But I think this goes back to what I said before. The quality of the oils in this feel a little bit better. It smells high quality, and I think it is high quality for an affordable price. The sort of fizziness, that sort of gingery zestiness or spiciness, let's say, definitely worn off. It's now a lot more smoky in that more Encre Noir type vibe. But it's very pleasant. It's really nice. I think the amber's still sort of hanging on there and a bit of sweetness. And definitely a bit of the sandalwood as well. The sandalwood's very pleasant. It's done really well on this. It's actually done better probably than I expected, even on longevity. I don't think you need to reapply this one. If you wanted to just wear this all day again around your neck, sort of on your chest, I think it'll be absolutely fine. I don't think you need to reapply, certainly not in the cool weather, which is where it's most designed for. So I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's really good. I've had some that are really strong. As I said, I think Versatility was like just as strong as it was, when I applied it. But if it was a hot day, maybe this one wouldn't do quite as well. I don't think it's going to be noticed overly. That's what I'd say. You're not probably going to get noticed with it. You'll notice it on your skin more than other people. So that's the only reason I would mark it down. But yeah, I think a 9 is a very fair score. That is, yeah, that's easy to find. You don't have to sort of dig your nose in too much and imagine it. It's definitely there. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll head back now, have something to eat, and we'll count up all the scores. We are back. It's been a bit of an adventure today, isn't it? I left running at 7:10 this morning, and it's now 1:30. So yeah, obviously I've done bits in between, but it was obviously raining first thing. It's now sunny. I've been indoor, outdoor, all while wearing this fragrance, Bentley For Men Absolute. So yeah, it's been through a lot today, and it got an overall score with the 5 rounds I did in terms of like price value for money, protection, all those things, 36 out of 50. I think that's a really good score. It literally only got really marked down on that projection. It does not project this fragrance, but I do want to emphasise again, I don't think that's a bad thing. These woodsy fragrances aren't really what people are looking for. And I love wood fragrances. I love sandalwood. I love the sort of sparkling ginger and pink pepper in the opening that sort of combines with those woods as well. And yeah, this is great. As I said, for me, it's definitely got this Coca-Cola vibe, but it's really nice, and it's certainly better than most fragrances you're going to find in that £25–30 range. I almost feel it just gets a little bit forgotten because of Bentley For Men Intense being so good, so popular as well. But this is sophisticated, classy. Dress this one up, wear it for any occasion, and this is a signature scent for me because I just don't think people really know this one. And yeah, it will get you confidence. I think to be honest, the best time is transition seasons. It's not a real cold fragrance. I don't think, 'cause it hasn't got that sweetness that I think most of us associate with that now. And obviously in the summer it's a little bit dark, a bit heavy, and the bottle kind of represents that. But yeah, this is high quality, and if you haven't tried it, please try it because Bentley do great fragrances. This is just one of many, and to me, I'd probably say I still just about prefer Bentley For Men Intense. This is a close second. It's a very close second. And yeah, put it this way, this isn't redundant in my collection, even if I have that Bentley fragrance or not. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today. Again, of course, as you probably know, there's going to be plenty more fragrance videos. I've got a one in mind that I'm hoping is going to go well, but you never know until you actually do these things. And of course, I love a fragrance film. Thank you to everyone who left me some nice comments about that one. I really enjoyed filming that again, back in time. And yeah, we'll try and do something a bit more, maybe into the future for the next one. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later.